there has to be a budget for maintaining it, Mr. Speaker. And we must allow the counties that we have seen, some of them speak about this. I have seen some plan over Nairobi and many other counties, and we challenge ourselves so that we have a conversation about how we shall achieve the national climate action plan, Mr. Speaker. Of course, I know part of the things that they need to do is also provide policy direction on research and training on climate change, including on the collection and dissemination of information relating to climate change to the relevant levels of government. That is both county and national, including the public and stakeholders. Research is extremely important in this program, Mr. Speaker. Every time people gather for COP conferences, from Glasgow to London to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and I think next year in Dubai, the world continues to churn new research information about climate change, Mr. Speaker, and things that countries are doing to ensure that we protect and we have a good climate in our countries, Mr. Speaker. It is important that this committee fulfills one of its key mandates in sharing and disseminating this information so that as county governments sit down to plan, Mr. Speaker, they know what is expected of them. If you travel, Mr. Speaker, in many of our counties, and I've said this even including to my own governor, that I don't expect when you're in charge of a county, you're a young person, well-educated, that this business where you find young people are setting up car washes alongside riverbeds and destroying the environment shall continue to happen during our administration. And this is something that we see across almost all our counties, Mr. Speaker. It's a reckless and unfortunate practice because, for sure, if you're washing cars, you're mixing oil, soap, and you know very well that downstream, there are people whose livelihood depend on the same river. Surely, what is your mind telling you, Mr. Speaker? And these are the policies that you expect that will feature part and prominently of the information that will be disseminated to our county governments, and expect them to act and ensure that we have a good platform for ensuring that we have achieved this Marshall Plan, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, and just a final word, because I know many of my colleagues perhaps wish to also contribute, is that while reading, I must note with great impression, Mr. Speaker, the work that has been done by this committee. If you read through the CV of Madam, let me get her name correctly, Mr. Speaker, because I took time to read through and see what is it that he has studied, Mr. Speaker. A lady by the name Umra Omar, whose nomination unfortunately has been rejected by this committee. You will realize that she's a well-educated Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, has a master's degree in social justice from the World Learning Institute, Mr. Speaker, USA, has also a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Neuroscience Psychology from Oberlin College in Ohio. Or if it was Senator Sifuna, chances I would have said Ohio. Something close to that, Mr. Speaker. You would have, and this lady is well educated. It's not for want of good education that she has been rejected. But the committee has pointed out that her understanding of matters environment, unfortunately, was found to be wanting. That is what we expect of our committees when they vet people, Mr. Speaker. That is not just sufficient to say, you know, I've gone to school. You might have gone to school, but have studied a topic that is completely unrelated to the work for which you have been nominated, Mr. Speaker. If we begin to fill up our public institutions with people that have relevant knowledge and expertise, Mr. Speaker, then we shall achieve great things as a country. Therefore, I want to laud the work of this committee. It's unfortunate that a Kenyan has been denied an opportunity, but not on account of the fact that she has gone to school well, Mr. Speaker, but the fact that her experience was found to be wanting in that specific field, Mr. Speaker. I expect that in future, if she gets another public appointment in topic, something that is related to her training, we shall expeditiously vet her and approve of her, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, kudos to the team that did on this exercise and ensure that as a House, we also participate in this particular exercise, Mr. Speaker. I hope when we pass other laws, Mr. Speaker, increasingly, if you notice, from around 2015 to 2016, almost all legislative business that came to this House, so long as it made its way to the Senate, and there was a process of nomination, we ensured that the vetting process was done in a bicameral manner. Any of these vetting exercises, unfortunately, some of which are constitutional, therefore, as a House, our powers are limited on what you can do, but at least on those that are made by statute, we shall ensure that the Senate has its place, just like our colleagues in the National Assembly.